Here Roy tells us about the first time he saw Pamola. All of a sudden I was awakened by a splashing in the water. Lo and behold, there was Pamola on a raft, paddling around the pond. It seemed as though the raft was made of large crowbars, and the longer he paddled, the faster she went. I sat there trembling and looking. He was the ugliest-looking critter I ever saw in my life. I knew he had to be Pamola. He stood up about 18 or 20 foot tall, with body and legs like a man, but all covered with coarse hair like a moose. His head was like a moose, and his ears and horns, but he had kind of a big curved beak like an eagle. He had a great long beard on his chin, as much as 3 foot long or longer. It was parted in the wind there, with the ends blowing back over his shoulders as he paddled along. He had the queerest feet you ever saw. They had 3 great pointed toes like a chicken, and one that pointed backwards. He had big wings growing out of his shoulders, but just like a bat's wings. He was a fierce-looking sight. I lay still in the bushes, dasn't move. Finally, it seemed as though he'd sailed enough. He took his raft, flew up on the side of the mountain, and hid it back of some ledges. I looked at my watch, and it was just 1 o'clock exactly. I didn't see him any more for a while. I was sitting there thinking what an awful-looking man he was. I was satisfied in my mind that I had seen Pamola, and it pleased me greatly. I have seen him many times since, but I have never got the same thrill. At last the big full moon was striking the knife edge, and I spied a dark shadow behind it. The moon rolled along over the boulders, and this dark object followed it till it got to where the mountain slopes off the other way. I could plainly see then that it was Pamola rolling the moon over the knife edge. He straightened up, flopped his great wings, let a hoot out of him like a loon, and flew back into a dark hole in the mountain. Now I found out since that he comes down and has his sail on the raft every month, the night the moon full.